What is up, YouTube? It's your girl Evelyn, and today I'll be highlighting some of my favorite guilty pleasure lesbian films and shows. And just to clarify, I'm not saying these movies and shows are bad necessarily. The point is, if your fave is on this list,
Don't take it personal.
without further ado, please sit back, enjoy the video, and don't forget to let me know which lesbian film or show is your favorite guilty pleasure.
Thought I'd die in your arms. I thought I'd die.
First Kill is a TV show about lesbians, which makes me so incredibly happy. But is First Kill a good TV show about lesbians? Well, that's a little more complicated.
Please, Cal. Now! Cal, don't do this! You're going to give Eleanor exactly what she wanted, what they all wanted, for us to not be together! Do you think I care what your family wants?
Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard of First Kill by now. Every YouTuber and their mom has a video about it, and it's been floating in and out of Netflix's top 10 for weeks. Now, your girl has all kinds of opinions about First Kill, and if you want to know why, I think the First Kill writers should lock themselves in a room with a stack of notebooks and the Buffy the Vampire Slayer box set. Check out my Patreon.
Wink, wink.
First Kill is a personal guilty pleasure of mine for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a grown-ass woman, and sometimes watching teenagers, teenage makes me feel a little weird, and I find myself doing things like actively shipping their hot mothers. Although, to be fair, why are their moms so hot? It's distract. Number 2. First Kill is deliciously soapy. Yes, there might be ghouls and vamps and music by Carrie Underwood and Sade for some reason, but literally every Fairmont family scene felt like it was straight out of an episode of Guiding Light. And as a former soap opera fan, I approve. In conclusion, I definitely don't think First Kill is a bad show.
No. Well,
I was 19 in a white dress when you told me I'm your princess.
Teacher's Pet isn't actually a film, but a category of film made up of movies like Olivia, Cracks, Machin in Uniform, Loving Annabelle, etc. Now, I do have to be a bit careful how I discuss this category, otherwise YouTube will get mad. So here is a quick taste of a few of these films to give you an idea of what I mean by Teacher's Pet.
Perhaps to get attention?
Or perhaps I'm intrigued
Intrigued by what?
by you.
What are you afraid of? Not as good as you look, perhaps?
I think it's safe to say this is a somewhat morally troubling category. Many of these films perpetuate the predatory lesbian stereotype, as well as the gay people shouldn't be allowed around children because we're all fill in the blank. Without question, Teacher's Pet is a problematic trope, and that's coming from someone who wrote a novel that arguably sits on the very edge of this category. I promise. I'm not defending this trope. That being said, I still love every one of these films, even Cracks, and that movie is f***ed up. And look, you can make the argument that many of these films came out a cajillion years ago and should be considered through a historical lens. And yes, that's true. In fact, if you watched my Classic Lesbian Films Part 2 video, you'll remember how absolutely scandalized I was while watching Olivia. But ultimately and morally, I just can't defend the Teacher's Pet category. But
I won't lie about liking the movies in it because I do like the movies in it, and if that makes me a problematic bitch, then I guess.
Can't keep meeting like this, all this sticking around and
as a rule, I'm usually not embarrassed by the films I like. Usually. Enter Bandaged, a thriller, I think, about an injured woman, her sinister surgeon father, and the nurse who changes everything.
1 week ago, my daughter had an accident. I would like her watched 24 hours a day.
I shall remain with her as much as is necessary.
In this house, I do not wish to hear any mention of the hospital.
Bandaged has the vibe of a certain type of film that shall not be named because... But let's just say it wouldn't surprise me if Bandaged was commissioned, if you know what I mean. The girls who know, I'm just joking. The thing is, Bandaged feels less like a movie and more like a checklist of weird shit. Like creepy father who can't get over the loss of his wife and is very aware of how much his daughter looks like his wife and wants her to look even more like his wife for I'm sure completely wholesome reasons. But then he develops a thing for the new nurse, but the new nurse develops a thing for the daughter. Also, the nurse might be a serial killer. Also, feet.
The hell is wrong with you?
I have no excuse for liking Bandaged. I'm not even sure why I like Bandaged, but I think it might be my guiltiest guilty pleasure of the entire list.
Could you find a way to let me down slowly? A little sympathy.
Even though May might not be the gayest movie on the list, it's by far my favorite. The 2002 horror/comedy flick is about a socially awkward young woman who's on the hunt for love and won't stop until she gets it, by any means necessary.
Do you like pussy?
What? Cats. Do you like pussycats? Jeez, you're a nasty little thing, aren't you?
Now, if you've seen May, you might be wondering why I consider it a guilty pleasure movie. After all, it's a hilarious, surprisingly deep, and downright disturbing horror film. Then, along came Polly, May's dangerously horny lesbian coworker, who is literally the predatory lesbian trope personified. Now, I'm 1000% sure Polly's character is meant to be satirical, but Anna Faris is just a little too good in this role. And the way Polly interacts with May feels so incredibly messed up. In fact, Polly might even be more lecherous than June from The Killing of Sister George, who, if you'll recall, intimately besieged two nuns. Be that as it may, I love May. It's the perfect blend of horror and comedy, and it's the only movie on the list I would recommend to most people. Well, a lot of people. Okay, some.
You say you want me, and then you don't.
Alto is a super cheesy lesbian rom-com about an Italian woman who falls in love with the Italian daughter of an Italian mobster to the chagrin of her Italian family. Did I mention they're Italian?
Ma! This is what I get for getting pregnant before I was married.
Ma! I mean, are you really gay? It's cool because now I can screw up as much as I want.
Alto is not what I would call a good film per se, but it does have a ton of heart, and more importantly, it's kind of hot. And look, your girl is not made of stone. Attractive women with amazing chemistry making out is apparently my kryptonite. Who knew?
Really?
The thing is, Alto does have a plot, and despite the plot being secondary to... It's not a horrible plot. The movie even makes some excellent points about how Italian culture is often equated and intertwined with the mob, and all the ways in which it's fetishized and commercialized, and how much that can suck for Italian Americans. See? I was paying attention. Now, if you're a longtime subscriber, you already know how much I love Liberty's Secret, and I feel like Alto is kind of in that same pool, stew, I don't know. But I do know that what Alto lacks, it makes up for with a lot of warmth and heart and a sexy makeout session.
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
I'm a natural born killer.
After much soul searching, I've come to the troubling realization that the reason I like the 2017 Power Rangers movie so much is due to the world's most inappropriate scene in a children's movie ever.
How about a suicide pact?
Dee Dee? They're not your friends. Come with me. We can be friends.
Don't look at me. I'm hideous.
To be fair, the lick was cut out of the final version of the film. Even still, the entire scene is dripping with sexual tension, and that is not just me being gay. The scene is gay. With a capital G. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, this is Trenny, the Yellow Ranger, and she's queer. This is Rita Repulsa, arch nemesis to the Power Rangers. And in this scene, Rita is trying to lure Trenny to the dark side by clearly using her sexuality against her. Rita is in Trenny's bedroom at night. Rita throws Trenny against the wall while caressing her face and saying sexually suggestive things like,
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
And I argue that the lick is representative of exactly what it seems like, which is wild for a kids movie. Speaking of children, I have no idea how old the Power Rangers are. I want to believe Trenny is 18 because it makes me feel better. Although, now that I think about it, Rita's probably like 10,000 years old, so everyone's a child to her.
The hell is wrong with...
That is it for the list. I want to give a quick shout out to my newest patrons, Ginger and Jessica. As always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to let me know which lesbian film is your favorite guilty pleasure, and I'll see you in the next one.
And have a little faith in me. And have a little